We're going to talk about Brave CF real quick. Um,
I keep
we've been
saying
doing,
Brave FC as well because it's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. It's kind of modeled because most of these promotions are FCs. But we got CF over here. Brave CF. They're coming to Mauritius in Africa, and all of us in this panel are doing some kind of work to help promote this card to help raise awareness for this card. And people, if you're watching it, please, if there's any way that you guys can definitely show some love on their pages, and in fact watch the fight when it happens on the 11th of May. That would be absolutely awesome. We spoke to Nicholas Wende today and Nkosi Ndebele today. The two guys are main eventing and co-main eventing the actual card, and make sure you keep an eye out for that. That's going to be dropping very very soon, at least just before the fight week of that card. Yao, you got one or two things to say about this card and the work you've been doing for Brave CF for Mauritius?
I have more than one or two things to say about
Oh,
Brave
please,
CF
you have the
and
floor.
the card that's coming. I have lots to say. I'm so excited about this card. I've been following Brave CF, and the CF stands for Combat Federation. I've been following Brave since sometime last year. It's been about a year. And the one fight that brought me into Brave, and the one fighter that brought me into Brave, is on this card. It was his debut fight, and I'm very excited. We have him on Monday. It's Eliza King Kong Kubanza. So this card, if you look at it from the perspective of Middle East martial arts and what's MMA and what's happening in the Africa region, for them to come down into Mauritius to have this event for the second or I think the third time is a real coup for African fighters. If you have a look there, we've got 7 African fighters on this card. We've got Nkosi the Future Ndebele in the first ever Brave trilogy against Shorty Torres. And this fight has been in the making since Ndebele lost in Colombia to Torres, where Torres had some home ground advantage. Then they went in for the rematch in Bahrain, and Ndebele won with glitz and glamour. It was an amazing event. He came through and he dominated to the point where Shorty Torres verbally submitted. He quit in the middle of the fight. And now that just shows the skill and the quality of Nkosi the Future Ndebele. And now they're up for the trilogy on home territory for Nkosi. Really looking forward to that fight. Then the co-main event is Nick the Saint Wende, one of my favorite fighters. Nick was the first champion that I saw winning in the EFC when I started going to EFC. So absolutely love Nick Wende. His gym is right down the road. Cover's is right down the road from where I stay. I'm really looking forward to him in his third fight in Brave. If he wins this fight, he goes for a title shot, whether it's against Shorty Torres or against Nkosi the Future. So it's an absolutely stacked card that's happening. We've got Lutando Biko fighting. We've got Ananias Mulamba fighting as well. And like I said, Eliza King Kong Kubanza with a head kick win in his first Brave fight, in his debut fight. This card is amazing, and I'm really looking forward to all the fights on this with all these skilled fighters. And there's one fighter here, Gitnov, who also trains, and I think you like this, Ola, with the one and only Khabib and Islam up in Dagestan. So it's going to be good to see, the Dagestani wrestling coming back into Brave, because we know Khamzat obviously is an ex-Brave fighter. He's not Dagestani, but okay, he's Chechenian.
Yeah,
he wrestled.
Leroy, I mean, from what you've seen of the card, some of the fighters that's been mentioned on there, people like Luthando Biko, these guys are guys that we've we have knowledge of. What's your take on the whole card, and what's been your takeaway from working on some of the stuff that we've been working on so far?
It would definitely seem like Brave is not pulling any punches with setting up this card, and just from the fighters alone that we've spoken to, they're all fucking amped to be in Mauritius for one, and to get this card happening. Like, they're all ready to go. I think this is going to be an awesome card. It's going to be right up there. You've seen talent that's come from the EFC, just like y'all was saying. Like, I don't know. It really is like a Middle East versus Africa kind of showdown on this one, really. All I'll say is this: if you see an Iranian fighter on the card, probably back him.
Okay. That's that.
That's my betting advice.
Don't come and look. Don't come and look for me on that advice when it goes left. Yeah, Leroy. That's the guy. That's the guy to be knocking on his door. McDane. I mean, you're also looking to do one or two things on this very event here. You've been talking to one of the organizers. What are your thoughts on this actual event and then bringing it to Mauritius in the way that it's a record-breaking event for them. This is the fourth time they'll bring it to Africa, and they're probably one of the only promotions that's really done that. What's your take on all of it?
Mate, like the boys were saying, I mean, looks like an absolute stat card. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know everything about Brave. I've probably tuned into a couple of cards so far, but this one looks unbelievable. And to be getting a trilogy that's now going across 3 different continents, I mean, it's like it's screaming glory. Like you say, the guys in there are absolutely like ready. Every single one of them are solid, and I can't wait to start speaking to some of these guys, sit down and watch the fights and see how it goes, and listen to some of the stories of these killers once I had to get to speak to them. I'm just trying to line up a couple of interviews with them, and we potentially might have a digital press conference to sit down and speak to some of them too, which will be awesome. But yeah, overall, card looks stacked, and like you say, bringing it to Africa again, the laying some foundations down there, just like the EFC are in Africa, for other promotions to come over in the future, like the UFC, now that they have DDP at the helm.
Yeah.
And just
100%.
a little tidbit for you: the average age of the fighters is 28, so they're not new to the game, but they're not past the prime, right? They're going to be firing on all cylinders,
swinging
from top to bottom.
100%. So people, if you just cutting your teeth in MMA, these promotions are the promotions you need to look for. These are the promotions that you really need to go and watch. Some of these up and coming fighters as well. And
we put together a really good product as well. Like, you're not losing out on anything.
100%. You get to know these fighters before they even before they make a big name for themselves
before they become middleweight champion of the world.
You know what I mean, in the UFC and stuff like that. So these are some of the fighters that that you need to get to know, and these guys are bloody good. They are about that life, every single one of them, and they bring it, and it's not going to be no different when it comes to this card from Brave. Let's move on to the next. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget we do our Dust Off Shakedown every Wednesday, 9 p.m. UK time. Don't miss it.